Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Stews here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I am going to be doing a review on A Quiet Place Part 2. So, A Quiet Place Part 2 is the second installment in the A Quiet Place franchise, and it came out in the year 2021. It's labeled as a 2020 movie since it had a world premiere in March 2020, but however, due to COVID, it got delayed for a year. And yeah, it initially came out 2021, and I personally count it as a 2021 movie, and is directed once again by John Krasinski, and it stars Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, Noah Jupe, Killian Murphy, Digimon Honsu, John Krasinski in a very small appearance at Tessera. And so the sequel tells a story taking place right after the events of the first film, where the family decides to leave their home, and now they're like no longer in the hiding. They now venture into the real world, although still like in some ways trying to go into hiding from the monsters. But now they're a lot more confident. Now they're a lot more confident to just fight against the monsters, and they try to like see like what the world is like now, what the world they try to like yeah pretty much they're on this mission, but and then they get caught up with this new character named Emmett, played by Killian Murphy, is a who is someone, a broken man who lost his family, and he pretty much has his own home, a very safe home away from the monsters, but like it's very secure. And so basically he joins this family in in a journey to stop the monsters. And while doing that, the family actually separates. Regan decides to come with Emmett to their own mission to go to a place to head to this place where actually it is revealed that there are way more people than you think who actually have survived the attack, and they and there's still people out there, and criminals too. And also, not to mention, the film also starts off with a prologue of the very first day on when the event happened, when the invasion happened, and how the Abbott family are, how it impacted their lives, and what makes them the central characters of the film, when out of anybody else, any other witnesses, any other survivors. That's a plot for it. The first A Quiet Place movie is one of the most influential and one of the most beloved horror movies of all time. Of all time. Sure, it's not one. I wouldn't really necessarily put it as one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but it is yeah, I wouldn't put it as one of my favorites, but I do acknowledge it being a masterpiece. Is it something that I go back to? Honestly, maybe not. Maybe it's not really something I'd rewatch. Okay, well, maybe when A Quiet Place Part 3 comes out, then yeah, I would rewatch that, but not really not really on a basis. I wouldn't really rewatch that often unless there's a new A Quiet Place film. But considering how highly beloved and highly regarded that the first film is, this sequel had a lot to live up to in order to be just as good, if not even better than the first. This film was actually supposed to come out in March of 2020. Yeah, like around late March. And I remember getting a trailer for this film in theaters in some movies. Well, I got it for both 1917 and Birds of Prey. I think there was another movie where I saw this trailer, but I honestly kind of forgot. Well, yeah, Bloodshot. I saw Bloodshot, but there's like another movie where they play this, but I actually kind of forgot. But I do remember that they did play this trailer, and most I saw from what I remember, most of the movies, most of the stuff that happens in this trailer is basically is basically the showing the showing the attack, like the day one of the attack, like the prologue, and very little scenes of like the events that happened right after the first film. That's what I remember. But yeah, I did see the trailer in theaters, so there's that. And yeah, and just when the producers were very confident, just when Hollywood was so confident that they actually release this film, despite of COVID, even though it was like in late March 2020. Yeah, they were confident that this movie would have was going to come out right before theaters closed, that this would be like the last film. But unfortunately, they had no choice but to close it. Like it was really that bad. Like the COVID situation was really like so bad that that they really had to delay this film. Just when Paramount was so ready to release it. Yeah, I feel really bad for Paramount. Like they were so confident on just already releasing this one, and then the boom, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, this one he fell victim of the delays, and it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, until finally, 1 year and 2 months is when they actually finally released this film. Now yeah, so May 2021 was actually a month where cinemas actually reopened now, but I didn't really see a lot of films at that time. Yeah, I didn't really see a lot of films like in 2021. I only saw like a limited amount of movies. But of course, well, some movies either went to streaming, they didn't release in my area, or I just couldn't see them because something. But yeah, I saw this one. Sadly though, no, wait, no. Sadly though, I didn't see this movie in cinemas. Yeah, I did not see this movie in theaters. And yeah, but you know what I saw in theaters? Yep, Spiral, from the Book of Saw. Now, Spiral is not that bad. Maybe I did overhate it at the time, but I still feel like I regret seeing Spiral in theaters. And yeah, I gotta say, if I were to make a list of the movies I regret not seeing in theaters, A Quiet Place Part 2 would actually be a part of this, a part of the list. I mean, it's worse when I actually saw Spiral first before this film right here. But anyways, yeah, let's get on with my thoughts on this film, with my personal thoughts on this film. Well, I'm actually glad that this movie got good reviews. Yeah, most people I know would say it's vastly inferior to the first film. And some saying it actually was unnecessary. Some even call it unnecessary, pointless. But to me personally, I gotta say, this sequel not only lives up to the first film, not only is this everything that you've wanted from this franchise, but I'd say it's better than the first film. Maybe not by a lot, not by like. Oh, I'd say it's only marginally better than the first one, but the fact that this movie is actually better than the first is a huge accomplishment. Yeah, I mean, I think I remember only seeing this movie once. When it first came out in digital, when it first dropped in digital. Yeah, I loved it and said it was better than the first, but I haven't really thought about it ever since. And I actually kind of forgot about how good it was. Like I was like thinking, is this really better than the first one? But on this recent viewing, I can definitely confirm that this is better than the first film. Yeah, I feel like I just forgot about the masterpiece that this really is. Is it similar to the first film? Yes, it is. However, in execution, this actually tells its story better than the first, and it's kind of like a bare version of of the plot in the first one. Yeah, sure, there is those slow pacing moments, but however, the slow pacing moments, it's not as slow paced as the first film. The slow pacing in the first film was also very engaging, but the slow pace mainly came from the fact that it more focused on the family bonding and how they survived and they were hiding. That's why the movie was slow. But based on the plot that the family was like, oh, screw it, let's go out, let's hunt these things out. We're brave, we're gonna face these monsters. So yeah, this movie is less slow paced. This movie is a bit faster paced, but you might think that based on this film's narrative, it's gonna be just them going on and shooting monsters without like a cohesive plot. But no, it actually it's not that. I mean, it still has its character moments. Particularly the scene that I thought was quite slow, still very engaging. It was that scene where they went inside Killian Murphy's home, or rather, should I say, his hideout, and basically Killian Murphy was kind of like giving an explanation as to how he survived all these years, and the fact that he lost his family. Yeah, that was where I did feel slow, but yeah, it was like 20 minutes into the film. But then like it did feel like very long. But then when they went out to continue like searching for the monsters. But then when I checked the time, it was like 35 minutes, something like that. Okay, well, so yeah, there's like a lot more time for the big parts of the movie. And yeah, yes, there may be still slow moments, but there's more tension to it with more appearances from the creatures, like more screen time from them. And yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not sure if I would say it's as scary as the first film, but it is certainly more tension filled and more intense, as well as more suspenseful as well. Like you yeah just like the first film, I felt the same like level of suspense. Yeah, it was very haunting and riveting, and for a lot of the times I was on the edge of my seat. Like especially when the scenes where like you know that the creatures are coming. Yeah. In fact, I think the scenes the scene that made me feel the suspense the most was when Bo, wait, what's his name? Noah Jupe's character, Marcus. Yeah, sorry. Bo was the guy who died, who was killed off in the first film. Yeah. Marcus. There's this scene where like Marcus was in the dark, like, and everything around him was completely dark. Yeah, everything around him was completely dark, and in a typical horror film, you'd expect that the creature would actually jump scare behind him, which is the reason why everything around that scene is dark. But actually, but actually that happened. Yeah, that's a perfect example of how you build suspense there. Yeah. Yeah, in this film, the Abbott family is even more challenged now, because not only is Evelyn a single parent after Lee got killed off in the first film, but they have a newborn baby who is unaware about the world that they're living in. So, and that he or she doesn't know that he or she should be quiet. Yeah, the baby that doesn't know it. And so yeah, as I saw, the baby cries like unaware. Yeah, I'm sure a functioning baby, like an actual, like, I'm sure one day the baby would find out that he slash she actually needs to be quiet to survive the monsters. But no, that this baby is so capable of attracting noise to and resulting in the creature to pretty much get attention and attack the Abbott family. So in the first film, the challenge of them is just simply to survive while being in hidings. But this one is like, oh, baby cry, and like, oh boy, yeah, that is really, yeah, it really does, yeah, feel like a bigger challenge, and that's one thing that makes this movie actually bigger in scale than in the first film. Yeah. Well, sure, yes. The fact this movie is bigger is actually one of the main reasons why this is better than the first film. Arguably the main reason, but there's actually more reasons as to why it's better than the first film than just the fact that it's bigger. I mean, sure, I acknowledge, like what I said, I do acknowledge that bigger doesn't always mean better than the first film, better than the smaller scale film. It doesn't happen all the time, but yeah, but not only is it better because it's bigger, but actually it does everything a sequel should do. The film does new things, and is able to expand on this world. Not only are no wait no. In the first film led audiences to believe that the Abbott family are the only survivors of this world. I even mentioned that in the first film when I summarized it. I said that they were the only families, they were the only people who survived. But I was wrong apparently. I guess I actually did forget about this film. Yeah, but this sequel shows that there are actually more people who are around, and they have their own ways of dealing with the creatures. You got Cillian Murphy, and by the way, the fact that he's in this film is insane. As this broken man who lost his entire family. Now that he has joined this family, he feels like a part of the family, especially when he forms a chemistry with one of the kids, Regan in a particular. There are also some criminals that living in this world, and yeah, and those guys who attacked Emmett and Regan in that boat scene. Well, let's just say that scene would make you root against those criminals. That's actually a scene where you actually root for the creatures to eat that, because these guys, they deserve to be eaten by the creature right there. The performances were even stronger than the first one. Emily Blunt and Noah Jupe both gave riveting performance. I'm not sure if I would say Noah Jupe is better here than the first one, but maybe. But in the case of Emily Blunt, I think she's actually on par here than in the first film. Cillian Murphy is the man. He can do no wrong. Like, I can't imagine him doing anything wrong. I mean, he's freaking Oppenheimer for crying out loud. But and also and also kind of funny how both the main and co-stars of Barbenheimer actually are started together in another project. Yeah, like with both Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt, the two lead stars of Oppenheimer actually had a film together before Oppenheimer, and then now we're getting the same with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, where both of them would where both Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling would star together in the upcoming Ocean's 11. By the way, can you imagine a film with Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Margot Robbie, and Ryan Gosling all together in one movie? Yeah, that would be sick. But the real standout of this movie would actually have to be Millicent Simmons. Yeah, the deaf girl. The girl was like deaf in real life. Yeah. In some ways, Regan is actually the real star of this film. Like, she's like the real hero of the film. This movie turned her into the best character in the franchise, and I actually think she is the best character. Millicent gives the best performance in the film, maybe even in the franchise. Her character is actually very interesting, very compelling, and I felt like I was following her character, following the shoes of her character more than Evelyn or pretty much anyone else. So, and of course, we gotta talk about the opening scene, because you can't talk about this movie without talking about how good that opening scene is, even if you didn't want to talk about spoilers. So quite possibly the best scene in the entire franchise. The opening scene of this film brilliantly shows the first day of the creatures invading Earth, like pretty much day one, and how humanity was wiped out. It is the most intense and riveting scene by far. Yes, it's not quite the bigger picture of the day one invasion, as like the aliens the creatures didn't really land in that place, but rather they landed in New York City, which is where we're going to see the bigger picture in A Quiet Place Day One. But this one is basically a little more personal, since we're basically following the Abbott family, the Abbott family, and how it affected them. My only nitpick with the movie, maybe I probably might have had a nitpick in the first one, but I just didn't mention it. But I do have one nitpick with the film, and that is basically look at the comparisons with day one and day four and something. yeah, like pretty much the events of this film. The Abbott family never aged like at all. If you look at they looked in the events of day one, they would have looked younger, and I think the movie should have done something to the movie should have done something to make them look younger, but look younger. But yeah, they should have made something to make them look younger, and so I feel like it's unrealistic that in the present day of these films, they look the exact same as as day one. So I think the movie should have like took note of that. But again, that's just a nitpick. Overall, A Quiet Place Day 2 is not only my favorite A Quiet Place film, but this is one of the greatest horror sequels ever made. Period. A Quiet Place is my second favorite franchise of all time, second only behind, well, of course, the Scream films. So yeah. Now, the first A Quiet Place movie is actually my favorite horror film of 2018. Yes, even over Hereditary. So my question is, do I think this is the best horror film of its respective year? Well, no. But yeah, because let's be real here. If you actually look at what horror films they put out, what horror films came out in 2021, it's Last Night in Soho is there, and people who know me so well would know how much I absolutely adore Last Night in Soho. It's still my favorite Edgar Wright movie. So yes, I would give Last Night in Soho the title of the best horror movie of 2021. But this film is second, and I honestly regret not putting this in my favorite movies 2001. Oh wait, did I even make that video? But yeah, this would certainly now be in my top 10 favorite movies of 2021. It was an honorable mention previously, but now it's on the list after rewatch. So with that said, I'm gonna give A Quiet Place Part 2 5 stars out of 5. Perfect movie. So also for my review of A Quiet Place Part 2, what are your thoughts on the film? Are you with the majority that this is inferior to the first film? Or are you with me that this is better than the first one? And yeah, and yes, so yeah, I honestly doubt A Quiet Place Part 1, Day 1 will top this. Just when I thought it was going to be the best in the franchise. Now, after seeing this film, I'm honestly very convinced that Day 1 won't be the best in the franchise. Heck, it could actually be the weakest one, but hopefully I'll still love it. That's the best I'm hoping for right now. So yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review on A Quiet Place Day 1. Bye guys.